Hey, I'm Clint Riddle. This is The Joy of Paintball. Today we talked to Ryan Greenspan about his travels, about how he's pretty much the trailblazer for creators in the paintball industry. He's got a lot of great things to say, good advice, and it was a real fun conversation. I appreciate him giving us his time, and yeah. And sorry if I'm out of breath. It's like 9,000 feet elevation, and I'm out of shape. Anyway, we talked to Ryan Greenspan about his philanthropy, his paintball life, dynasty, and how he creates opportunity for himself. And yeah, sorry if I pass out. This is the joy of paintball. I'm Clint Riddle. Welcome to the club, by the way.
Yeah,
You are outnumbered.
I'm outnumbered. We're outnumbered.
Yeah. So I'm
Oh
rolling
man, I was
four
just telling
deep
my
right
buddy
now.
about that
Yeah.
too. Yeah. How many do you have?
Four.
Four,
Yeah.
dude. What are you
Yeah.
doing? You're a
Uh,
maniac.
yeah. Well,
Good, congratulations,
they're
man.
not. Well, yeah, same to you. They're at least yours are all like real close, like super close.
Uh,
My oldest is 18 and my
mhm.
youngest is 8. So
So you just
they
at
all end
some point in
between.
time, you're just like, we're bored of like kids that can fully take care of themselves. We want to change diapers again. That's what we want to do.
Yeah,
That's where you.
no,
Is that where your
that's.
head? That's where your headspace was at 10
I
years
was
old. You're
like,
like, what I really
I
miss
re-
is 3 years of changing diapers.
Yeah, that hell, dude, the diapers were nothing, and I tell all my
Yeah.
buddies now that are like having kids, like the carrying the car seats, the immediate relief my back got from the arms was all right. It was something how it carried, like it messed my back up bad.
Oh yeah, no, my back is
So,
jacked.
so
Diving
I
into
don't
the
envy
snake
that.
actually, I think readjusts it.
There you go. Well, I guess let's jump into this.
Yeah, yeah, we're
Thank
ripping.
you. Yeah, thanks so much for making the time, stepping out of the blizzard. So, yeah, I have this is the joy of paintball,
Hmm.
and I have creators on and paintball players, like the whatever the mingling of those two things is.
Sure.
I try to talk about with folks, and you're like the creator, man. That sounded weird. You're the content creator for our industry, I think. Like, just historically, like, uh, I mean, did it start with paintball, or was it the travel that you were like, oh, I'm gonna create, like, sort of like the overlap of the travel?
um, yeah, that's a really good question. Just from how the YouTube thing started, I want to say it was like out of our age group of guys, right? When I was doing the social media and the content creating, Oliver and Alex made fun of me nonstop. They were
Of
like,
course,
"Oh, this is
yeah,
dumb. Oh, look at us!" Like I'd be trying to like record something or like make create a piece of content, and they were absolutely did not want to have any part in it. And in fact, they went above and beyond to like be so obnoxious that they just wanted to derail and sideline anything I was doing. I'm like, ah. Um,
these
so
guys,
and looking back on my YouTube, I'd have to look at my YouTube channel and see what the first thing that I created was. But I don't really recall. But the travel aspect of it was like where my passion was because I've always loved traveling since I was a child. My mom passed it down to me, and that's like one of the big things which I'm sure we'll talk about in what I owe a lot to paintball. Like I owe a lot to the sport to like really thank the sport for allowing me to travel around the world and have these great opportunities. And so, yeah, creating content was just kind of like I love doing that. And I stopped doing it because I really feel like if I'm gonna film anything, I have to tell a story, right?
yeah,
Aside from the live stuff, that's why I like the live stuff is just so easy because
yeah,
it's just us talking, right? And we're having a good time.
mm-hmm.
And this is just, it's fun to do. It's easy to do. It's like very minimal editing. And I always say this, bravo to, Matt the Gym Rat and Ronnie Dizon for like just in there, just, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
typing
They don't
away.
have kids. Yeah,
No, that's what it is. That's true.
yeah,
That's a good point. Good point. But it's a very tedious. It's a lot to do. So when I was doing these travel videos, I love doing it because I hope I inspired some people to be like, oh, you know what? I'd love to go to next time Cancun's not just for drinking unlimited, eating
Yeah.
unlimited buffets and drinking margaritas the whole time. Like there's cenotes. That's a cool experience. I
Mm-hmm.
could play paintball out there. That's a great experience. Or maybe I'll go to Bali and I'll play a little paintball out there and I'll do a free diving thing. I'm not just going to go to the beach and ride scooters around and do like what the tourists do.
Yeah.
So I thought there was an inspirational side of things there. But man, it's a lot of work and with
Yeah.
not a lot of time. And then I would do it, and the people who watched it loved them. And that was like, it was super rewarding. People who die hard were like, man, I wish that was still going on. Um, but then I'd like post just a one cut gear bag. It's what's in my gear
Yeah.
bag, and I get that 10x the amount of views, and people are like, yes, more content like this. And I'm like, okay.
Dude, I remember yours from, oh gosh, Jawbreaker 3 or
Oh,
whatever. Like that gear bag stuff.
yeah,
Something about it, dude. I don't know what
it
it
is
is.
cool. Yeah.
Like, but I'm
Well,
sure
because
like when you're
it's
like,
relatable to everybody.
yeah, but I could see how that'd be disappointing when you're like, hey, I just like sacrificed a lot to be in this really cool place that like y'all should really appreciate. It's a lot
I
cooler
spent
than
like
gear bag,
12
I
hours
promise.
editing this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man. So you're saying that like your content creation is mostly because you feel like it's your almost like a duty, like something you have to give back, or you want to give back to just
Yeah.
the world.
A little bit of both, right? Like,
Okay.
I feel like I'm good. It's just another thing. It's like another hobby, right? I'm good
Mm-hmm.
at it.
Yeah.
Not everybody is comfortable putting themselves out there or not. And
Mm-hmm.
you know how like creating content is. It's like you kind of have to like put yourself out there. You do your art, you're doing
Mm-hmm.
this, and it's like there's a good chance that people are gonna be like, this is lame, and like you gotta like,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm not cool enough, or like, so you gotta break through that kind of mental barrier, and that's a good way of doing that by putting yourself out there. I tell people all the time, just do it,
Mm-hmm.
and you could continue to do it, or you don't have to, but like do it because it breaks yourself out of this mold, and so I guess kind of circling back to your question, um, I don't know that I owe it to anybody to do it. I just like to do it. I love to
Yeah.
travel. I actually can't stand like, holding the camera in front of myself in a crowd of people and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, or hey man, will you
Yeah.
take a video of me? Like, I'm not that guy. Like, I try to
Yeah.
do it as discreetly as possible. Um, I like, I cringe at the idea of holding a selfie stick in front of me and talking in front
Mm-hmm.
of like a bunch of people walking around. I know that's kind of the new norm, but call me like old fashioned. Like it's not
Yeah.
normal and
Yeah.
it's not healthy, but
No. Yeah.
it, it is good. The good part, the healthy part about it is good for you to put yourself out there and be
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with putting yourself out there. Because so many people these days are really uncomfortable around other people and doing other things. So that it kind of breaks you out of this mold.
Yeah.
So there's
Oh,
like a
it's like a
sweet spot
catch
there.
22 or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
it really is. And I think there's a sweet spot in there that you can kind of find that lends itself to being
Yeah.
productive, or rather than like the content creators that go over there and like pick fights with people, or they're jackasses, or they put people in uncomfortable situations. That I just feel like there's no place in the world for those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Something. Whenever you're like, I don't know, because it does. What I love about social media is how like this is happening. You
Yeah.
know, like I've talked to people on both ends of the country through this
Hmm.
uh, that I never would usually, and that's pretty cool. And I talked to like this morning. I talked to a designer way out of my league. Like I don't know why he responded to a message. I was like, dude, wow, like this is cool. And so
Yeah.
that social aspect is cool, but like you're saying, like this whole like selfie, like I'm here with so or wherever, like this like sort of
Mhm.
reporting on things nobody really wants to hear about is defeating the whole my whole like benefit of it, I guess. Like
Yeah, yeah. It's
everyone
almost
has their
like
own thing. So
taking a step backwards, but people consume it, which is like, oh, like what am I? And that's what I was
yeah,
getting back at. It's
yeah,
like I would put all that time in. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. It took me, 10 days to get up there and back, and filmed every single day, like really fat, like really like honed in on the reality television type of things. Like me and my buddy did an interview every like 3 times a day, and then I edited it all, and like it was a fun video. It was really cool, and like it was a cool feat. It was like something that you just not everybody does every day.
Yeah.
And you know, and I thought it was fun to watch, and people enjoyed who they watched it. But then again, then you go into it, and it's like, check out my gear bag, or like check out this, like, you know, oh, I shot this guy in the nuts, and you're like, ah, or this guy got bonus balled, you know, and you're like,
But over here, guys, over here. I worked
yeah.
hard on this thing.
It was like, you know, I worked hard, but again, you know, I don't expect to like, hey, I worked hard on this, give me something, you know. But
Yeah.
it's just it's an attention span thing, right?
Hmm.
People like to see conflict, and I always revert back to that reality television script, you know, because I've been constantly trying to pitch the NXL. Like, dude, live paintball is cool, but that's not it. We need to get the audience. We need to get the people who are going to watch the live paintball. People aren't just going to be like, "Oh, paintball, let me watch this for all day." You know, you want it, you need to grow an audience, you know? So,
That's a good point. Like, get the good segue. You guys are like masters at that. It's because you said something, I think, probably on Spick and Span show about like creating opportunity for yourself. And
mhm.
I've noticed Dynasty has, I feel like that's part of y'all's culture is creating opportunity, not just like between you and like Alex, you know, like, and I guess Yosh too, like Field One, is he a part of that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, like just to name, like there's a list. I could go, so Field One, Hormesis, Great American Paintball, Spick and Span Show, and that's people that are still on the team. Oh, and This Is Brute, like, and
Yeah.
that's people still on the team. And now you've got Paintball Passport, you've got Arturo doing the MXL, and
Mhm.
Zen of and the Art of
Zen,
Paintball and the coaches
yeah.
show, and like I've missed something. I know I have.
Well,
Oh,
we also had Marcelo with
PTG,
PTG,
yeah,
you know,
like all and Paintball IQ, all that came about. I
yeah.
think on y'all's, like, while these people were on y'all's team or currently on your
Mhm.
team.
Mhm.
And is that, I guess, is that part of y'all's like, hey, we need someone, we got to find someone who's like I guess like
No,
proactive in
I
that, you know what
wish
I mean? Or project too. That's another one I
I
forgot.
wish
But
we were
yeah.
some like empire of like Rupert Murdoch, or like, you know, or like, you know, Bob Iger, where we just had our just when we're like, okay, the year is 2001, we're gonna go pro, and there's gonna be this thing called social media in about 10 years that's gonna take off. At which point we're going to no. I wish that there was like something. I think that one of the things that, but like now that you mentioned all those, you know, these things, one of the things that makes the team very successful um, is not just our winning career, right?
Yeah.
But what lends to that is our personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our ability to interact with our fan base and be approachable, because a lot of what drives us isn't just the, you know, is the guy next to us. We want to win for each other, but we also like have a very, very, very robust fan base that spans generations,
Mm-hmm.
who kind of like, I'm not saying count on us, but like are there in our corner and constantly supporting us.
Oh
And
yeah.
with that being said, we want to like stay involved with them. Like, we're not just gonna we don't want to shut anybody out. So and then because we are involved in the industry and we've been here for so long, we're lifers at this point. You know, I've been playing
Yeah.
paintball
For sure.
for more than half of my life. So I'm, you know, I'm in it. So I may as well get my fingers in it as much as I can, and just create as much opportunity as possible. So when we're looking for players, like charisma is one of the things that like we don't actually grade that high. We're like, I don't know about this guy; he's not very charismatic. But it is something like you want to have somebody that's personable and you want to have somebody that's
Mm-hmm.
likable. We're never
Yeah.
gonna pick up anybody, with the exception of myself. I'm grandfathered in. That's an asshole. You know, there's not really many assholes on the team aside from me. But from what I hear from other people, I think I'm a nice guy. Um,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna we don't want those type of people and personalities on our team. And
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't like, hey, Marcelo, like, you know, uh you're, you know, a great player, you should start this your podcast. That was him doing it all on his own.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
like shows that the type of players that we, you know, cultivate in our organization, and that, you know, help us, are all have the same goals, and they're all like uber focused on paintball.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
um and I think that that's a big factor. Look at Harrison started as like a little paintball grom, like just doing whatever he could to play as much paintball as possible. He went to a
Yeah.
dynasty clinic, and then he was like grinding on this international circuit, like, hey man, dude, help me with my flights, I'll sleep on the floor, like I'll play paintball with you.
Yeah.
And then he just started getting more and more connections and building and building and building, and then his as he that was happening, you see his stats rising and rising and
Mm-hmm.
rising. And now it's like, hey, I want to get guys for the new JT catalog that we're gonna, or the
Yeah.
marketing campaign, and like I want Harrison to be one of those faces because he's earned it. He's been there. He's not like
Oh, he's
it's not like the
yeah.
guy that's like hiding behind the shadows and like, oh, I don't want to take a picture and this is that. Like
Yeah.
everybody, and like Joe's a great example, and Kyle Berry is like very very oriented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then like you said, Arturo's got his league. We have very influential players in our
Worldwide.
organization, yeah, worldwide. But we don't pick guys up just because we're like, ooh, we need a guy, we need a representative from Mexico, we need to fill this,
Yeah.
this check this
Yeah.
box. It just they all fit into the organization and the system because we're
Mm-hmm.
all so like minded. We're all highly goal oriented. No one's lazy, except for
Yeah.
Alex. Is kind of lazy, even though
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
he doesn't have enough on his plate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just kind of works out. I think it was just like that's a really good point though. Like I never thought about that, like the amount of like kind of social influence and influence that we have for other players. But no, that's not a prerequisite for playing on Dynasty. We'll
Well,
pick you up
yeah.
if you're
I
good
figured
too.
it wasn't. I mostly like just, and you kind of touched on it. Like the culture of the team seems to like encourage, like, hey, we're gonna win. Like that, we'll give you that. But like,
Hmm.
what? How do you? Almost like a like, what's your plan
Right.
after this, or during this? You know, like how,
Mhm.
like you're saying with your initial vlogs, like, what do you want to give back? And I think
Right.
that's super cool.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a new segment I like to call shout outs. So, right now, I'd like to give a shout out to the Pod Runners Union, brought to us by Papa Sash. He's out of San Antonio, Texas, and he's created the Pod Runners Union, just giving representation to pod runners all throughout the paintball industry. So, big thanks to Papa Sash and everything he does. He's also organizing the SAT 3v3. Really cool 3v3 tournament happening down at X Factor Paintball Park. Definitely give them a shout out. Give them a check them out. Go, yeah, check them out. Go see what they're doing. Good stuff coming from them. All right, Wilma, what do you think? Okay, I think she approves.
But no, I'm actually really glad that you hit me up. I'm so happy that a lot of people are now creating more content. We talk about it all the time. I mean, we like
Yeah.
I just created the web banner for the Spick and Span show with like episode 233. That's just on YouTube. This April will be our 5th year, right? So we've been doing it 5 years. So we started in 2020, and it's like, it's pretty crazy to think because we just started it as like this little thing, and it's not a big thing now, but like
I mean,
it was something that kind of needed, and then PTG started like I think the week right after ours or something like that. Right,
yeah.
right around the same time, but just definitely after ours. But it was like something that, and we hadn't even Marcelo and I hadn't talked about it. We kind of like were just kind of randomly like, hey, let's do this, and Anthony from BKI was like, someone needs to reach out, and let's stay involved during COVID, and there's a definite void that is being filled more and more in the paintball industry by the likes of yourself, Ronnie for D's on Ducks, been doing it forever, Brad from Paintball Ruined My Life, like all the content creators, and it's not just guys getting bunkered, right? I think that unfortunately, and we touched on it earlier when we were talking about it, but like the attention span that people have is literally like so short. If you're not captured and enticed, I think it's like in a motion picture, if you're actually going to the movies, you need to have like some sort of action or something that keeps your attention in the first 15 minutes of that movie. Otherwise, people are like, what the fuck am I doing in here?
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of like how you write a play, like a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like when you're scrolling, it's like if you don't see something in 5 to 10 seconds, I'm like gonna go to the next one.
Oh gosh,
Um, and
it's
so like the content that we're creating now is like almost reintroducing the human psyche, the human
yeah.
mind to like just sit and listen to this. You're going to enjoy it. If
Mm-hmm.
Joe Rogan, if you're listening to a 3 hour podcast of Joe Rogan or something like
Golly.
that,
Yeah.
you can sit through, like 15, 20 minutes or an hour of one of
Mm-hmm.
these pieces because you're going to learn something. You're going to learn about a player or myself or a personality or because a lot of people don't, they kind of like seen some of your art and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that. And I think that's
Yeah.
so fascinating. And I love when you guys like you just posted it for the Hall of Icons,
Oh, like
but
the time lapse or whatever.
dude, the time lapse of drawing that, I can't even draw a stick figure, and
Yeah.
like, dude, when you guys are doing that, it is so fascinating to see how fast that like just how it comes together and what you guys are able to do. I
Yeah.
think it's like incredibly amazing, you know?
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep up with you guys. Like where it's like when we see the things that y'all do, it's just kind of everyone's. That's another beauty of like social media. Like everyone
Sure.
like is able to sort of show what they're strong in or what they like, and then they're also able to witness like other people who are
Yeah.
like masters of their trade. Not that I'm a master, but you. Uh, the the like you're touching on some stuff that I think kind of like I don't know what you would call it, niche wide, like this
Hmm.
whole like tournament paintball
Right.
or paintball media in general. We're all trying to like I feel like trying to go deeper in a sense,
Hmm.
like not just wow cool pod load or whatever, like
Right.
so and that has a place like
It's
Verve's
the
new
hook.
stuff, yeah, his new stuff where he's tracking the ball, that is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Verbal stuff.
Right.
Have
Right.
you seen
Right.
those? Yeah.
I haven't,
He.
but I love that. I love that Verbal's been branching out into the longer form content as well.
Oh yeah.
Because like all of his short form stuff, which he compiles tons of the content, is just like the hook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, like the oh, don't get me started. Like the amount that they're able to crank out. I'm like, oh, I'm
Dude.
over here working like 3 hours on one little figure, and I'm like, oh, damn it. But they're sacrificing and like putting
Oh
their
yeah.
bodies on the line and stuff
Well,
like that. Yeah. But sorry, getting back to it, like all this media that we're seeing now, it's content. Like even with Dan and honestly, I'm like Spigot and Span. You guys, that's real cool because you never know where it's gonna go. Like the other podcasts, you kind of like, all right, there's gonna be some
right.
direction.
Yeah.
But
There's a
you
script.
guys, it's so much fun because it's still long format, but like, oh, Alex is gonna pop in or
Hmm.
whoever, uh, and y'all ask hard questions. I appreciate that about Spick and Span. Like y'all kind of like, it's a place where you're able to like. I think just because of the clout that you guys have and the relationships that y'all have, you're able to just kind of like
Yeah.
really ask harder questions that if I asked someone some of the stuff you'll ask, they'd be like, "Who
Yeah. If you're like, hey,
man?"
Tom
Like,
Cole, I think
yeah,
that this needs to change, and this is a dumb idea, and you're like, well, hold on. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's one of the benefits. And I try to hold, and this is maybe why people find that I rub them the wrong way sometimes, but try to hold everybody to a high standard.
Mm-hmm.
I hold myself to a high standard.
Yeah,
If I make a mistake, either on the field, off the field, like whatever, like I want it to be fixed, and I think it should be fixed. And I don't think that people should just get off with a like, oh, whatever, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um, and so, especially so, if someone says something to me that was like, "Hey, I was at the event, and then this happened," or this, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Wait, really? Well, hold on. Like, I'm gonna text Tom right now." Like,
Yeah,
there was a discrepancy with, a while ago on the show, and someone was like in the comments, like, "Oh, I did this, that," and I'm like, "It's funny. I'm on the. Did this really happen,
yeah,
Tom?" And he's like, "Well, kind of, not really exactly like that." Like, okay, well, let's put you guys together and let's fix it because, again, I've got a lot riding on this at this point.
Yeah.
All my
Yeah.
eggs are in one
Yeah.
basket, almost all my eggs. And so with that being said, like I want to make sure that everybody is feels like they got a fair shake or that they're getting their value or their money's worth. And if not, like how can we fix it? You know? I apologize to everybody who sits through the whole entire Squeak and Span show every Tuesday for 2 full hours. And they're like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
No.
That
It's
one I'm not gonna fix, guys. Sorry.
that I think it's like this weird like I don't want to say passive listening, but like kind of I don't know
Yeah.
how, you know what I mean? Like when you listen to a podcast, you're like, okay, I can do something. I can multitask while I'm doing this, and then your ears will perk up in a certain way.
Hey, what did you just say? What time is it? Oh
Sorry.
my gosh.
Yeah, this has been going for 2 hours. Shit.
Holy shit.
No, no,
Exactly.
but man, I something I love about y'all's podcast is and I think this is relatively unique to you guys. Well, maybe not. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The philanthropy that you guys do, or
Yeah.
just the generosity. You guys, I mean, anytime there's a disaster, you guys are jumping in. And like Christmas, I know y'all do your toys thing. And
Yeah. Yeah.
all the time. Like, where's that come from?
That's a really good question. I don't know. My mom my mom belongs to like $25 a month to the Amnesty and $25 to World Wildlife Foundation. So she's always kind of given like a little bit of money here and there. I just feel it's funny. Like I live in California, so everything's extremely expensive. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford a home. So with that being said, like, what am I saving for? To a certain extent, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like when people are in need, and we have the ability to help somebody, like it should just be our duty to do so. I just, and even if we can't monetarily, like you can just kind of maybe share it here and there, this might open the floodgates. And I do my best when people do send some stuff out to me, but it's just I don't know. I've always had a soft spot for you know anything that like needs fixing,
Yeah.
especially if it's like again, there's fires that are devastating
Oh
these
yeah.
places and people are homeless like to no fault of their own,
Hmm.
and there's people spending 60,000. I've seen 60 to $100,000 at a nightclub at night, going out, and it's like, all right, hey, do you think you can spare a little bit here? Um, and I've spent plenty of money on really stupid shit,
Hmm.
right?
I think all
And
people.
so again,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we all have, right?
Yeah.
I can look around in my car and be like, I definitely didn't need that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. For sure.
but at the same time, like, I understand how amazing the paintball community is, and this is one of the like bright spots about paintball is it's a giant group from a huge demographic, a
Hmm.
massive melting pot. It's not just all a bunch of jocks. It's not a bunch of fat, out of shape people. It's not a bunch of old geriatric people. It's everybody, and it's
Yeah.
generational. And so when you have that, you're going to have people who don't give a shit, but you're going to have a lot of people who care,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I think that there's a common goal there. And if I had millions and millions of dollars, I would do my best to help as many people as I possibly can. I don't have millions and millions of dollars, but I have a lot of people who collectively might have a millions and millions of dollars. And
Hmm.
if I can gather stuff for my sponsors, when Nick Sloviak went through that with his
Loss
wife,
of his life. Yeah.
yeah, it was just like I didn't even think too much about it. I was like, hey, let's just do something and try to help him out a little bit. I wasn't like expecting it to go as big as it did, so I just kind of like I hit up a couple sponsors. I hit up Leds from Planet Eclipse. I hit up Alex Hormesis,
Hmm.
and then they're like, yeah, I'll kick down a gun. Okay, let me hit up Die because they sponsor them. They're like, whatever you need,
Hmm.
gun, custom gun. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And so I started adding all these prizes, and then it was like this waterfall turned on of like outpouring of support. And we had done a bunch of charity raises before,
Hmm.
where we bought toys for the kids, or we like this natural disaster happened. I was like, I don't know, let's see if we can raise a couple $100. Or
Yeah.
James from Island Designs was like, hey, I want to give away some stuff. Can we raise some money for children's cancer? I said, sure, let's do it. And then everybody was so
Yeah.
supportive. So now it's like a mission at this point where
Hmm.
I gave away my personal signature series force last year to somebody, and we raised like I think $8,000 or $10,000 and donated
Hell
it all to
yeah,
charity.
dude.
And so
Hell
I don't
yeah.
know.
I love it.
I don't really have a reason as to why. I don't. It wasn't like I grew up in a foster home, or I grew up in a place where we I have to we have to give we have to give up, give home, or give this, or I was a beneficiary of this. It just feels like the right thing to do, and you know I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are inherently good. A lot of people don't know what to do if they wanted
Hmm.
to give. So I just and I've kind of like researched a handful. I've partnered with Make a Wish Foundation in the past, and I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. I don't have like. There's nothing like that I was bred or born with that aside from my mom, kind of like being really nice.
Yeah. There you go.
So,
All right.
I just feel
Well,
like we can. I feel like if we have the opportunity to and the ability to help somebody, and there's people in need, we should try our. We should try to. Really
absolutely.
should.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Like,
Yeah. Sorry.
thank
That was a
you.
long. That
No,
was
it's
a
great.
long-winded
Hey,
answer, and I didn't really give you. I didn't give you an answer.
no, I think you did. I think you did.
Okay.
I feel like you did. You like, if anything, you elaborated on like just doing it. Like,
Why
how
not?
many people, you know, see something? Oh yeah, someone should do something about that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they need water or they need food. Like, someone should do something about that. And it's like, no,
Hmm.
you're supposed to just do something.
I
And I
I
think
have a.
you having the platform that you do and just saying like, hey, these guys, when the stuff it was it, I forget what island was it, Maui with
Maui,
no,
yeah, yeah, a
when
bunch of
that
Maui. Yeah,
happened,
the fires happened.
everyone was
I was
like,
like,
man, this is
why
horrible. What
can't
should
we
we
get them
do?
some gear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
you're absolutely right. I was like,
yeah,
because nobody really knew what to do, and I was like, let's get these paintball guys some gear. So I forgot about that. So we got
yeah,
25 sets of head to toe gear from various sponsors around the industry,
yeah.
and then
Hell
sent it all
yeah,
out
dude.
there.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the funny things is, when I become rich and famous,
Mm-hmm. Of
if
course.
when this
Yeah.
big paintball TV deal hits, uh, um, I do have like one of my goals is I want to do a nonprofit that collects shoes and
Mm-hmm.
sends them out to Africa. I've been to Africa. I love Africa. It's like one of my favorite places in the world. It's like raw, untouched, incredible amount of poverty, which is and there's so many people out there that are like trying to earn a decent wage, and they're like walking around with just destroyed shoes. Like they just can
Mm-hmm.
barely sort of end up barefoot, or there's tape around their
Yeah.
shoes. And I went out there, like I said, I climbed Kilimanjaro. At the end, we gave all my shoes out away, like the 3 pairs of shoes that I brought. And then I went out to Botswana one time, and the same thing. Like we kind of like left our shoes because there's these guides that were,
Yeah.
hey, you guys want to see this? And just you're like, man, how do we get these guys some shoes? What can we
Yeah.
do to get these? So that's on my to-do list of
I
things
love it, dude.
that's like that's on the top of the list is to figure out how to get everybody out there who needs shoes.
Yeah.
There's so many shoes. I've got so many pairs of shoes that I donate, but I
That's
just need to
so
get them
true.
out there.
Yeah. I bet. I mean,
There's a way to do it. I know.
yeah.
I just got a lot on my
You
plate.
got some New Balance contacts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude. All right. So we covered philanthropy, making or working with opportunity. What else? What's next?
Hmm.
Just in yeah. Anything on the in the works? So you talked about a JT like sort of catalog.
Yeah, yeah. So, I just started with JT at the beginning of the year in January, and I want to my my job title. Started as kind of like a brand ambassador, but
Mm-hmm.
also just kind of helping with things when or where things need help. So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
out to the GI factory. We're gonna shoot some content. I'm gonna kind of like get an idea of how the paint's made. Maybe shoot some content based on like how to care for your paint. Um, but and helping with the marketing side of things of like when projects are being dropped. So I work closely with Yosh from Yosh Designs, and because he does all of the media. I don't know
I
how he
love
does
it.
it, but he does
Yeah,
all of it, which is wild, man. So
yeah.
so hats off to him,
He's
and
doing a lot. He's
he does
from
a
my
lot.
region. He's also like a partner for like a tattoo shop
Hmm.
and like
Hmm.
just got his yeah. and it's
Yeah, I
hard
mean
to
he
catch
he
him.
do- he does a ton. He does a ton, and you know, and so trying to help him with like kind of some ideas or anything that I can kind of shoulder off of what he does. But one of the things that I really wanted to bring back was like the athletes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, again,
Yeah,
just
dude.
tying it back to like right now, our content is like get bunkered, load your pod, win the
Yeah.
tournament, you know? But I
But
want
there's
to show the players' faces and like kind of mirror pretty much every other sport in the world.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you go onto Nike's golf page, if you go onto
Oh
Patagonia, if
gosh.
you go onto Quicksilver, Billabong,
Yeah.
like you go onto like a fishing website, it doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
see an athlete, most likely their face,
Mm-hmm.
wearing the product.
Yeah.
And JT, you know, Core, GI, Empire, we sponsor a lot of athletes, and we use them, but
Mm-hmm.
not to the extent that we can. And so, and it's also great to be able to prop up like and expose the world to the talent and the pros that are not just the dynasty guys or the PB Fit guys or like
Yeah.
the Royal City Sea Dogs in their area or the
Mm-hmm.
NRG Elite guys in their area. And you know, we got the X Factor guys, we got the you know the PB Fit guys in Dallas, and we can build a brand around those players, and that is the JT
Yeah,
you know
dude.
brand.
Y'all
And
have
and
the
mhm,
versatility, like
right,
the that you can sort of create your own, not brand, but I liken it to like shoes. Like these guys all
hmm,
have, the masks. I would argue are like sneakers for the paintball community.
for sure, especially the Pro
Like,
Flexes.
oh yeah, like you
Yeah,
can, and oh, does he have two straps? Okay, which straps does he have? Does he wear it
right.
upside down? Oh, and then the skirt. What is that called?
Yeah, the skirt.
The
That's the
bottom
skirt. Yeah,
part.
the skirt.
Like all that stuff. Like I, I'm glad you're jumping on this because it's felt like a missed opportunity since like they stopped doing it with
Hmm.
like Angel and like WD
Yeah.
Peter and Lasoya
Yep.
and
Yep.
Marcus like
Yeah.
and I mean we used to do it. Like I
Well, I mean,
remember
look
I
at all the
bought.
photos.
Go ahead.
Look at all the photos. Sorry. Look at all the photos behind you. Right.
Yeah.
Your artwork is centered around the player and then their ability, and the player and their ability. So it's like JT's a legendary brand. It's the most legendary
Mm-hmm.
brand in all of paintball, like
Yeah, dude.
undoubtedly. And it's actually kind of cool that I came on at the time that I did because before I'd gone pro in 1999, I think when the ice goggles first
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
released, right?
Yeah, dude.
They
Those are
released this
so
whole entire
sick.
line, and we were the up and coming Groms. We were Cap Factory at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty cool because we got to brought down to San Diego, and we got to be in our first photo shoot. And our first photo shoot with JT was to launch the ice goggles. And it's actually kind of cool because the what's funny, it's the funniest part about it is, well, Oliver was there to launch the goggles. We were all out of focus in the
Of
background,
course. Yeah.
but of course, and I was wearing the purple jersey with the purple goggles.
Oh man.
Like so far out of focus. I need to find that old ad, but it's really cool. And the timing is just like so perfect on this because, as we bring that type of concept back, so we did a huge photo shoot in Tampa, to
Great.
get, with Philip Swindle and from Hormesis, and
Yeah.
we got a bunch of really great stuff that's going to be used in web banners. We're going to create a dealer catalog so we can showcase the products. We have a huge product line that not everybody's aware of. Also, JT is going to be doing direct to consumer as well, so we're going to actually have yeah, we're going to actually
Customize your
have
own.
we're going to have our own branded stuff on the JT website, and it's going to be great. So you can get the seasonal things, and Jared Lackey's a really, really great with design. So he's putting a bunch of throwback stuff on there. So it's gonna be really cool that you can now go on and get like a stock JT jersey, a limited edition stock JT
Oh
jersey,
yeah.
or a jacket, or something that matches with whatever it is, rather than kind of like hoping that maybe your local dealer has the pants or like makes this
Yeah.
and or your team stuff. It's like you can now be a fan of the brand
Yeah.
and then buy the product.
Yeah. Dude. I love it.
It's cool.
Is there anything set up for you guys? This is quasi related, but like, is there anything set up for you guys to like, as a player, like if people buy the Greenspan build, you know, or
You mean
is
like
there a
an
way for
affiliate program?
something where like, hey, if yeah, I think so. I don't know the proper term, but like, you know, like, hey, I really want that Ryan Greenspan JT build,
Hmm.
and like a thousand kids buy them. Is there like a kickback? Is that affiliate? I
Yeah, it's called
guess.
that's an affiliate program. Yeah, yeah, or a
Do
kickback
those
program.
exist
Yeah.
for players?
So
Like,
they do, and so they're relatively easy to set up for a brand, and that's
mm,
something that we can do. And so JT is releasing an elite collection.
sweet.
So they have an elite line of players who will be, I think, myself, Meter Ninos, Thomas Taylor, Dan Shelley is one of like as
Hell
far as
yeah.
a
Okay.
content creator, and so there will be, you know, a jersey line, a shirt
Yeah.
line, and maybe like something else. Now the goggle side of things, that one's a little tricky because the minimum quantities on those are really tricky. You got to buy a lot of goggles to like
Yeah.
piece them together. But brands can make a custom signature series, like bfpgear.com made the
Oh,
dynasty
I see.
frames,
I
right?
see. So
Yeah.
like if Astro was like, I want a
If
special
Astra,
goggle,
yeah,
or
yeah,
they could order that and then sell it themselves.
themselves, yeah. And I think,
Okay.
like you'll see Project do that every so often with
Mm-hmm.
those slate colored goggles they did.
Yeah.
Uh and so yeah, and that was like the big thing with the flexes were really popular with the customs. So you can do that. But what's really cool with JT that a lot of people don't know, and Empire as well, is like if you're a field or store or even a team, the minimums for like hoodies or like team branded, like Riddle's art,
Yeah.
branded stuff, you can get like five of those really cool wet jacket. Like I think the minimums are really small, so you can for your team order like jerseys, pants, and all this stuff for relatively inexpensively, and have JT like
Yeah.
iconic JT branded items like
Nice.
yourself, and you can put
Yeah.
your own artwork on it. It's like the sky's the limit with the design. So there's a lot of really cool things. And again, that's like one of the things that I want to help is with the education side of things is to make sure like that teams and fields and stores and brands know that they can partner with JT and create their own line of products.
Nice, dude. Okay. So is this set up where people do they just like contact you, or
Yeah, you
how
can
does
contact me. You can there is if you're a team, you can go into the Imperial program thing, and then you
okay.
can get like the head to toe gear.
Yeah.
You can kind of pick and choose what you want. And then from there, if you're a already if you have a store or field, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you can just contact your JT rep or just contact JT and say, "Hey, I want some cool like custom hoodies
Yeah.
that have the JT logo on it with my like name or branding on the back, like you could have some full on sublimated. It's really cool.
Right on.
Again, we're gonna have a lot more marketing side like the jackets. Like you see those the Dynasty Garnett jackets that we came out with, those red ones.
Yeah, dude. Those are sick.
Those are
With
sick,
the
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are JT jackets,
Okay.
right? And
Sweet.
they're like a rain jacket and
Yeah,
they're heavy duty and they're
yeah.
super
They're like
nice.
pullovers, right?
Yeah, they're pullover like quarter zip
That's dope.
pull or yeah, half
Yeah.
zip pullovers. They're really rad. We sold out of them right away. Wish we made enough for the guys on the team too. But we're gonna have some purple ones for the amethyst birth color month coming out
Okay.
here in a couple weeks. And yeah, man, it's like a lot of the stuff that's going on. So part of the photo shoot that we did is like the educational side of things. We got like some of the aftershock guys, some of the dynasty guys, Damien, all wearing this seasonal and these custom items to be like, look what you guys can do. Let's
Yeah.
get you in them.
All right.
Yeah. And we got to get
Sweet.
some, we get to get you a signature line.
Oh gosh. For what?
Oh gosh. I feel like you're okay with, you can be creative enough.
Okay, sorry about the wind. It's kind of crazy up here. But this is another segment that I'm going to do that is called Players You Should Know. And this is an opportunity for the community to reach out and let me know players that are working hard, doing good things, just sort of staples in the community, the local community, the national, worldwide community. Anyone that you think deserves recognition, please feel free to reach out. You can DM me at Riddles Art and let me know the player, where they're from, and what they're doing that deserves recognition. Today's player is Michael Johnson, formerly of. It's still a lot of elevation. I'm sorry. Today's player is Michael Johnson of not Boston. Well, shows how old I am. Of Red Legion, and he's formerly of FSU Notorious. I've heard him speak on Play the Game, and I've seen him play, and you can tell he works hard. He's committed to the sport, and all around great dude for the sport of paintball. So that's today's player you should know. Check him out. Oh my gosh. I, it seemed very serendipitous for you to jump back in with JT, and like I thought that was super cool. Uh, do you mind me asking if did you approach them or did they approach you?
I kind of approached them,
Okay.
but it was only because, when we brought it to John Rathman's attention, he goes, "I didn't even think you wanted to work in the industry." Wow, yes, please, like let's make this work out. Because I was, eh, I mean, like I said, I've been in the industry for so long, it only makes sense that I kind of continue to this
Been
trajectory.
successful in the industry also,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I plan to continue playing. I think
Yeah.
I've learned a few things here and there, and like I said, I've been in a lot of photo shoots. I've been in a lot of magazines. I've seen a lot of ads. Like I kind of have an idea what the pulse is, at least from the tournament side of things, and I love the scenario side of things as well. So I'm really
Hmm.
excited to like be able
Dude,
to get into that
yeah.
side of things as well.
Y'all gotta get Wolf in a flex, man.
Dude,
That'll
that's
be
you're right. You're not wrong there. He's my guy. He is my
he's
guy.
yeah. I'm trying to get him. He responded. He's a cool dude, but I don't know when. Anyway, that'd
He's great.
be huge.
I'll get you guys linked up.
Oh, thanks,
I'll
man.
put in the good word.
Yeah. Um, okay, so I guess the reason I asked was just this like going back to like you specifically making opportunity for yourself and like um I just like something that rolls around in my head is like I don't know what a sports agent is,
Uh-huh.
but you talking about like you've been in the industry for so long, like whenever the time comes another 20 years from now for you to hang up the cleats, uh, or even just in general, like, are there agents for people or managers for players? It's a
Um,
really random question. I'm sorry,
it no
but
no
like
it's not. So yes and no, right? Obviously we've had a sports agent in the past.
okay,
Dynasty has.
yeah,
And it's had mixed results. Like we got more so we had more of the deals that we were involved in were more favorable towards us rather than 100% favorable to the contract whatever they were selling to us.
gotcha.
Um in our industry, the it's kind of like the good old boys club. It's
Mm-hmm.
coming from like one owner is paying whoever it is. And there's oftentimes, sometimes a handshake, sometimes a contract, depending on,
Yeah.
who it is and what like what skin is on the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just not, unfortunately, enough money in the industry. So the industry average or standard for a sports agent is now in the millions of dollars is 3%, but otherwise it's about 10 to 20%. Right. So
Yeah.
Clint, if you were like, "Hey Ryan, I got my local Subway sandwich shop wants to sponsor you. I go in there all the time. I love Subway. And I told them about you. They love you. They're gonna give you a 10 grand." I'd be like, "Sweet. Here's 2 grand for you. Here's 20% for you. Thank you. Any chance you get. Um,
Yeah.
we appreciate that." Um, but if you look at paintball and the contract values, so Alex Goldman's getting six figures. There's maybe three or four other people that are making six
Yeah.
figures. So
Yeah.
if somebody represented all of them, then sure, it would be great.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're not going to want to give up 20% of their six-figure salary because that's a lot, it's a big chunk of change, and they're not
Yeah.
making enough already. And so there's just not enough in the sport right now. Plus, whoever is doling out that type of cash probably has better lawyers than I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you miss a lot. Like, and that's a big thing. So when you have a sports agent, they either already are a contract attorney or they have contract attorneys already, which is why
Mm-hmm.
when we partnered with ours back in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, he was a contract attorney. So when he looked at our contracts, he's like, no, no, they can cancel whenever they want. No, no, we can
Yeah.
cancel whenever we want. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, do that, do that. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Okay.
I don't know if you how many contracts you've ever read, but it's
It's
man,
pretty
it's I don't
dense.
know. I don't
Yeah.
really know. I still don't know what whereas and what where to mean.
Yeah.
I've read it a million times. I don't quite know what they mean.
I think it's supposed to be that way.
You know, like
Yeah.
where to, huh?
Yeah. Shakespeare wrote this? What's going
Yeah,
on?
exactly.
Yeah.
Who wrote this?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I just think like I think about it a lot. I know if I'm thinking about it, some dude who's just sort of like a hobbyist. I know a lot of other folks are, and it's just bonkers to me that like someone hasn't like I feel like that's an opportunity to be honest, like that someone hasn't like jumped on like, hey, I'll sort of segue into this, and it sounded
Yeah.
like whoever I forget his name, but he's with New Balance. I don't know if it's the same
Oh,
dude that I'm
David
talking.
Cheney.
Yeah, it's he
He's
kind of sounded like it, and I'm basing all of this off of
yeah,
like
he's great.
Hollywood, like and what was the Show Me the Money movie?
Oh, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, I was like,
Uh-huh.
he kind of had a not, he's not as charismatic as Tom Cruise, but like, kind of had that vibe. So I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm getting at, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
there's an industry for it, and I think what he was trying to do is like he wasn't pushing for a players union. That's been a thing also, but the problem is in the pro league is you can start to get agents, right?
hmm
Once everybody's getting paid.
yeah,
If
huh?
there's guys, or at least like a percentage of those people are getting
hmm
paid, because then you have something to like negotiate against.
hmm
You know, because it's
Yeah,
like here's the thing, you know, if there's like two or three guys in the league maybe that are gonna like there's gonna be a bidding war over. Alex Goldman
yeah,
is one of them, which happened this year. But other than
hmm
that, there's not enough of a bidding war to like they'd be like, all right, well, I don't need to spend $100,000 here. I'm just gonna go spend
hmm
$60,000 here, and someone's gonna be like, yeah, I'll take that,
yeah, for
right?
sure, yeah,
Um, and so it's so difficult. But if there's a lot of people getting paid $50,000 league minimums or 20 or $30,000, then it bumps everything up enough to where there will be you know a bidding war to a certain extent, and there's
yeah.
multi-year deals, and so it's just we're not there yet, unfortunately, and unless we get some sort of like again big TV deal where there's
You
a
think
rev
so?
share.
Like, yeah.
Either that or we need 10 more extremely wealthy, very competitive human beings to be
Well,
owning the league.
so I hear you, and I
Mhm.
think about this a lot. Like Bart and
Sarge
Sarge and Mark and
mhm.
Alex
And
Martinez, like
CJ.
and CJ, like all these guys are like I don't want to say investing. They're donating
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah, it's
NFL.
a good way.
Like
Yeah.
um, and I don't know what state like where do teams like I see you guys, I see Infamous, and I don't know like Fit. I don't know how much of it like they're kind of a new dynamic to the industry as far as like I get. I don't know if I'm using these terms right. I'm an art teacher, but revenue like what or return on investment, whatever you
Return on
want to call
investment.
it,
Yeah. So ROI.
like
Yeah.
I mean, I know people love the game, but like to be shelling out hundreds of thousands of dollars a
Yes.
year for a team
Well,
like that's
for a hobby, yeah.
for
So
no
let me.
return. Like I look at
Yeah.
Impact, like they don't sell
They don't sell
things.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
like
not. They're not even very marketable to be at all.
yeah, like
Because and so first of all, I want to say like I am so grateful for
absolutely,
Bart
yeah,
and Sarge and Alex's generosity and Mark's generosity and CJ for basically they're single-handedly propping up the
oh
future
yeah,
of paintball, right? Because they're giving people who are watching this knowing like, hey, there's a possibility that I could, you know, my kid can make $50,000 or $60,000 or $100,000 later on.
yeah,
So I'm super grateful for those guys to be propping up the industry to that extent,
hmm
and providing on, you know, the between all, you know, five of them, the millions of bucks that they've spent over the course of the last several
oh yeah,
years on their player salaries. Like, so, it's awesome to know that there's guys out there who are willing to take a loss
Yeah.
for not just their competitive standpoint, and that's what it comes down to. Is it's a competitive thing.
Yeah.
We're all,
Okay.
we're human men that are competitive in
Yeah.
nature, and we want to win.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, like, a lot of people say, like, I promised these guys that I would take care of them, and as long as my business is successful enough to be able to offset this, Alex Martinez has his field, he's got his other business, and he's offsetting it all there. Like, that's how he's
Yeah.
able to justify it. But is it a loss? Absolutely. Is there a return on investment? Well, not
Hopefully.
monetarily, not monetarily
Yeah.
at all.
Okay.
But it is in the sense of the competitive nature. And when you get to this point where I can donate a pair of shoes and
Mm-hmm.
not gonna really be much sweat off my back, right?
Yeah.
At some point in time, a couple $100,000 is just a pair of shoes,
Yeah.
right? And in the grand
That's
scheme of
accessible.
things, you have this community that you've created, and you have these players and these people who are like, I don't want to say they're relying on you, but they're just you create this ecosystem, and it's like, I love it,
Yeah.
right? I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so
Yeah.
that's the return on investment. It's the same thing of like
Sure.
our
Okay.
podcasting. We're not making very much money on
Yeah.
this, but we'd love to
Absolutely.
do
Yeah.
it. Like, this is great because we're creating something that people enjoy, and
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the way you build
I
a
wouldn't say I
relationship
wouldn't
with your.
suggest you cash in your 401k to start a pro team and hopefully get rich quick. So
Oh gosh. Yeah. You know. I just like part of me like feels like there's got to be something like you guys and Infamous.
well, we owe,
Like I
we
don't
owe
know
a
back
lot.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we owe a lot to our Dynasty Champions Club and our fans
Mm-hmm.
and everybody who buys. Like, you buy something on the Dynasty page and you buy something on the Pro DNA and Infamous page. Like, it goes directly to supporting that team.
Yeah.
And for the most part, pretty much any team that has a web store. Like, and I've always said this on the Spick and Span show. I'm like, look, I don't care. I would prefer if you shopped at BFP Gear and JT and Dynasty Paintball, but if you're not a fan of any of us or any of that, you're just watching this because you want to, hope that I slip up and say something that's offensive that you can screenshot and re-record. Whatever your motivation is, just make sure that whoever you shop with is somebody who supports a content creator or supports somebody within paintball.
Yeah.
Don't go buy from a place that doesn't support the industry as a
Yeah.
whole. If they're not supporting the NXL, or they're not supporting your local team, or they're not supporting your favorite, Riddles podcast, the Joy Paintball, then, make sure, don't support those guys. Support
Yeah.
the ones that are helping everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. Like I agree. Like that's how the economy should work.
Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy from companies that you trust and you like.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh. There it
Right
is.
on. All right, man. Well, let me jump into my kind of like standard questions.
Yeah.
If you got those right.
Yeah, I've been thinking about them all day. I'm going to be a disappointment, I think.
No, dude. Don't, like the don't feel like it has to be like highbrow. It can be if you want, but you know, whatever. Like so, my first question is like, what's a piece of art that stopped you in your tracks? And that could be, maybe you're a big car guy. It could be a cool like rat rod or something, or
Yeah.
it could be a drawing from your daughter, or like
Mhm.
literally whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, Benny Carroll talked about a motivational speaker as like his
Oh,
favorite
cool.
artist or something.
Right,
So like,
right. I see.
I interpret, I'll let you guys interpret art and artist however you want. So, what is a piece of art that like stopped you in your tracks? Or you had to, forced you to
Yeah,
spend time with it?
I was thinking about that, and it was really hard for me to kind of pinpoint anything, and now that you kind of mentioned those other concepts, and I was thinking of like movies
Mm-hmm.
or speeches. There was a time when Alex and I, when we were 18, I was 18, he was 17, and we were traveling through Europe, and we went to the Louvre.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this sounds kind of cliche because it was in a museum, but
It's all good.
right next door to where the Mona Lisa is
Mm-hmm.
on display, and there's 1,000 people trying to line up to take a little picture of this little photo, or like this little painting, in this little box that has surrounded by ropes. There's a tapestry that's like the size of a school bus
Yeah.
on the wall. Like, and when you look at that, it was like it was kind of it was a strange moment. I remember because we'd walked around the thing and we're like, okay, cool, like art. This all this stuff looks really neat. But that was like the one thing that's kind of always stood out to me is just the perspective of what we find that is actually
Valuable.
what's actually impressive or what we're
Mhm.
told is impressive. So we need to now like, and if you think about it now on social, like with social media, like that was before social media, but now it's like people are so like entwined in what they're told they're supposed to like,
Mhm.
rather than being like, why are we
Yeah.
looking at this like,
There's a
you know,
literal like
this thing
two-story
because
mural behind this
there's a
thing.
2-story mural that is
Yeah.
like
It's almost
in
like the curator
so
did that on purpose. Like,
yeah,
okay,
maybe. And I just
what are
remember
we?
looking at that going, man, this is so much more impressive
Hmm.
and must have taken so much more time. But we're told that this is so much more impressive because is she smiling or is she not smiling? Is she happy or
Yeah.
is she not happy? And
Hmm.
and and it just that's obviously it. So I got to take a picture of that. But like, look what's surrounding it
Hmm.
I mean is incredible. So that's like one thing when you mentioned that to me, I always found
I
that
love
really
that.
really fascinating. I don't
I had the
know.
same experience, dude. Like,
Oh really? Cool.
yeah, I went. Oh gosh, several years ago,
Uh-huh.
and uh, just like my wife was pregnant at the time, so she couldn't do the whole thing, and I had my oldest with me, and so we were like, I knew I'd heard stories like the Louvre is you're not gonna see everything. I was like, I'm gonna, so I'm like borderline like sprinting through it. Like I knew
Uh,
I wasn't gonna be able to spend time with it, but we make it there, and yeah, you turn it like you see it, and I know not everything, but I know about the Mona
right.
Lisa and whatever, and I have the same sentiments. Like Leonardo did much cooler stuff.
Yeah.
I'd rather see his sketches than this, but whatever. There's a
Right.
story attached to it. Certain entities tell me that I should value this at a certain thing, and whatever. And then you turn around and you see. I'll look up the name, and I try to put the artwork up, and anything that we've talked about that has a visual, I try to put that up.
Oh,
But
cool. I mean, it was like it dwarfed it. It was like
oh gosh, yeah,
by like yeah, you're right. It was, and I mean those ceilings are 30-foot
yeah.
plus ceilings, and the thing was it stretched like it was amazing. And you're
Yeah.
right. I guarantee that was done on purpose to see if
Mm-hmm.
anybody else had like that same visceral reaction of like,
Yeah. This guy. What
yeah,
a
who is this guy?
yeah. That's cool, man. I yeah, the Louvre's cool. I thought to me the most like impactful thing was the stairs. Just walking up the stairs and seeing the little grooves in it in this like indoor facility that I think millions of people go through a day.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And like yeah, sorry. It looked
No, it's
like
all
there
right.
was another piece you wanted to talk about.
No, that was it. That was
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was my
That's a
one.
good one. I
Oh, thank
should know the
goodness.
name of that. Oh, yeah. All right. So then, an artist or creator that everyone needs to know about. This
This
could
one's
be
tough.
okay.
Yeah, this one's tough. I actually don't know. I like this is the other thing, right? I'll look at stuff, I'll see stuff, I'll listen to stuff, I'll watch stuff, I'll consume content and media
Hmm.
at the expense of not always knowing who
Yeah.
created or and it's actually a problem.
Do you know like
Um,
you're the type of guy you don't know song titles or?
dude, I don't know song titles. I don't
I'm
know
with you.
who did it.
Yeah.
It's funny
I can
because
tell you what number it is on the CD. Like I can say like if it's something I listen to, like oh yeah, play track 7. That's dope. And
yeah.
like so
And I felt like
yeah.
even you gave me this information like with plenty of time to plan, and I almost asked Chat GPT or Grok. I
Oh.
used Grok and been like, what should I save here? But then I felt like that was cheating. So I would rather just let
Is
everybody
that the
know that
artist we should
I
know?
just
Is
don't I
Scrub?
just don't know. Like I don't yeah. The artist you guys should know about is
AI.
your mind that's inside of here that is going to be able to create something out of an AI. But no, I feel badly about it, but I didn't want to cheat this one,
It's
and
all
I
good, yeah.
just wanted to say like, man, I honestly don't know. But if you were to say, oh, what about this? I'd be, oh my gosh, that's the guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, is it so you could do it? We could sort of reverse engineer it. You know, like, is there like a surf magazine or surfer that creates content that you like, or like, uh, doesn't have to be a capital A artist.
No, I know. I mean, I honestly, I don't even really consume like my like playlist on Spotify. Like I was in the top 0.01% of all Taylor Swift listeners last year because I have a
Nice.
6-year-old daughter. There
Sure.
was like
Okay.
I think there was like in the entire world there was maybe like me and
She's
a
really
hundred.
talented, Ryan. It's okay. You...
And so my music is that, and
hmm.
then I drop my daughter off and I get to listen to like the 6 minutes of the news on the way back home as I check the surf on the way back to my house.
Okay.
And that's like what I consume,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Other than that, like I'll watch TV and movies and whatever's on.
Yeah.
And then I mean I love National Geographic. I
There you go,
subscribe to
dude.
National Geographic, and
That's
so I get
important.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, and I love like looking at that. I love like
Oh my gosh.
especially
Yeah.
the geology stuff and the space stuff. But other
Dude.
like but like a specific author or anything, I don't know. I
No, dude.
am really fascinated with the art installations that are kind of they're like a traveling art installation, and they kind of pop up. A lot of people are doing them, but it's like a lot of three-dimensional interactive type of things where you can like you'll walk into. There was like the rain. There was like a really famous rain one. Again,
Oh,
I don't
like the
know who it
sensory
was.
ones?
The sensory ones, yeah, and you're like in
Yeah.
there, and there's light, and you're like, it's like optical illusions almost.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of those types of things where there's like an optical illusion, and you can kind of walk through this pop up museum where, um, you're kind of interacting. You're not like actually touching and feeling and squishing and being a
Yeah.
part of it, but you're like you're a part of the environment, and I think those are
Okay.
really cool. And I've heard of one that I really want to try. I think it's called Male Wolf or something. Archie's told me
Meow
a little.
Wolf. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Uh,
that stuff sounds pretty
there's
fascinating to me.
one. Yeah, we have one local to us in Dallas,
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah, 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 yeah,
Grapevine, and then there's one in Vegas and Santa Fe, I think. I don't know
yeah,
what the other ones
yeah.
are, but
Archie's told me a
that's
lot about those, and those sound
it.
cool.
Sounds like Archie would. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Just
Okay.
based off of what I hear him talk about
Yeah,
when we're
yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyway, they're fun, dude, for sure. Like,
Like
just
I
your
like those
daughter,
type of
and
things.
yeah, they're cool.
Hmm.
Right on. Okay, those great answers. Nat
Sweet,
Geo,
dude.
dude. I like. I'm an art teacher. Nat Geo's like magically appear into my classroom. I don't even know.
Oh,
I'm
you're
not
stoked.
joking. There's like dozens of them because they're like, who? No one's gonna use this stuff. We'll give it to the art teacher.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes.
So they're
Yeah.
great. Okay, and then my last question. We can end it here. I don't want to take up too
No.
much of your time. This is a kind of a new one. I've started. Danny Rojas was the last one I asked this, and it was, "What is the best piece of advice that's been given to you?"
Um. So I'll give you the paintball one. I'll give you
Okay.
two. Okay, I'll give you two of them, and I think both of these will resonate with the demographic and the audience. So, and I just brought this one up. Uh, the first one would be just to kind of open your vision. I'm now elaborating on what it is, but expanding your vision and your horizons to understand your surroundings. And with that is your play where you play is not just right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a larger swath. So play the bottom, the top, and all the parts of your bunker. I think that this is a piece of advice that Bob Long gave me back in 1998. And I actually just talked about this
Dang.
last weekend at the thing. I was playing in a spool at Mare Island, and I was only coming out of like the same
Mm-hmm.
little corner of the spool. I must have ended up getting shot. He comes up and he goes, "Hey, see how big this thing is?" Yeah, I go, "You should be playing every single part of this."
Mm-hmm.
And that has always stuck with me. And I think that's a cool little anecdote for those who know Bob Long and follow the sport enough. But it's, I have to explain this to so many of the players that I coach who are playing in Doritos, the guys who play Doritos, they only like to play the top.
Yeah.
Watch Chris Shear play, and he's
Oh my
like laying
gosh,
on the
dude.
ground, doing all
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
He's underneath it almost. Like,
He's underneath it almost, and a lot of people don't realize that, like, just because you can see the guy here and he can see you, doesn't mean he can see you down here. And like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the bunkers are a lot smaller, and this last field was really resonated with that on the outsides. Um,
Yeah.
the other one is, and I don't know who got this, and maybe this is just something I picked up, but um, you gotta have multiple plans. Can't,
Hmm.
and I said it earlier, but put all your eggs in one basket. You can't lean on plan A entirely. And this isn't just like, I'm not talking about from a paintball philosophy. You need to have a backup plan
Yeah.
for pretty much everything. And
Yeah.
you can zoom in and be like, ah, well, if this restaurant's closed, maybe we'll go to that one. Or you can zoom out with, if this doesn't work out in life, my goal here,
Mm-hmm.
what's a good fallback plan? If I'm not going to make it at pro paintball, I better have college or a good plan, like base
Yeah.
underneath me. Um, and I think that that's something that like just planning ahead and understanding what outcomes may occur as a result of whatever action you take is a good life lesson to have. And maybe this is just me giving advice to somebody else, but this is just something that I picked up. I don't know if someone had elaborated so much for me, but I think it's really important that you kind of, like, I've learned that you need to like understand the outcomes and have a plan for what may come of the actions that you take.
Yeah. Wow. That I mean, yes, I agree. Totally agree.
Right.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, and I mean, I feel like that applies to paintball also. But like,
For sure.
uh, my dad used to tell me all the time, like, paintball's not going anywhere. I played in college,
Mhm.
and you know the college leagues. They were not, uh, they didn't equate to like
Right.
college football or anything like
Right.
that. It was just some guys having fun. And so he'd see me sort of like devoting a lot of time to paintball and not so much to class or whatever. And he's like, "Hey man, like paintball's not going anywhere," like uh, so and like to both of your points, like zoom out, look at the big picture, and what are you gonna do? Like have that plan, and that makes me
Yeah.
wonder, like for someone who's most people like you you know it, but like a lot of people aspire to do what you do. Like they want to be a pro. They want to be
Hmm.
Ryan Greenspan. Like one of the like you're the name in paintball, and it's so interesting that you say that. Like it makes me wonder. Like what did you have another plan?
Late take it from me, kids. You better have a backup plan because this ain't it.
Yeah.
Well, Yoshi and I went to college at San Diego State. We moved. That's the reason we moved to San Diego. Is it was a hotbed for paintball, and we got accepted to the same school down there. And we kind of put our college careers on hold when we were out of the country a week out of every month or every
Yeah.
other month, and we had, we were playing 10 events, we were practicing every weekend, we were traveling 5 times to Europe plus all these other events. And the company that we had started, I remember this, Dynasty was just like almost broke $1 million in gross revenue in
Wow.
2004, something like that, from sales, from
Yeah.
memberships, from tournament winnings, from sponsorships, from royalties. So we were doing extremely well. And I was like scheduled to like go study abroad because I studied international business and I
Mm-hmm.
used to speak fluent Spanish. And I was scheduled to go study in Spain for a semester. And I'm like, oof. And then they were
That's a
like, "Oh, and
lot
you
of
also need to
travel.
intern. You need to intern with an international business." And I'm like, "Well, hey, I own one. We sell internationally.
Yeah.
Can I just intern for
I'm there.
myself?
Yeah.
We got this." And then that was kind of like the turning point right there in our. But like, I'd kind of planned out that a little bit, and I'm not trying to be a naysayer by any means, but
Mhm.
it's just always good. Again, I want to go
Yeah.
eat at this restaurant. If
Yeah.
it's
Have a
closed, what
plan.
are we gonna do? I don't know. I'm not just gonna sit here. I'm gonna get on my phone and figure it out. And so you can equate that. You can put that principle into action, and of course against any swath of actions that you take in life, whether it's something as trivial as making a left or a right hand turn, or making the decision of whether or not to buy a house or save up for the house, or retirement or whatever it might be. But it's always good to have a plan B.
Yeah.
And just kind of like have it thought out a little bit. You unfortunately, and this is true in every sport. The professional on the top of it is extremely difficult to get to. How many people play baseball, football, basketball before they make it, if they even do make it? You get to college and then that might have been it, really, for a multitude of reasons. And a lot of people are like, you want to have the belief, but you also just you need to have a reality check without doubt. Yeah. Check reality check without having doubt.
Yeah,
is a good way of looking at it.
That's so smart. I hear about it all the time. I forget. I read Tony Dungy's book, one of his books, and he talked about an NBA player who went to dentistry school while he was in the NBA. Like he went to college. Yeah. Got picked up by whoever, and then when I guess the off season, I don't even know
I don't know when they find time. I've heard of that a couple of times. They're like, my his career isn't gonna be around forever. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, oh, good for you, like bravo. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of avenues, and that can be put into practice in any facet of life. And it's not just like, and I'm not trying to be a naysayer. It's just always good to have a kind of a backup plan, or just kind of like think things out. Because again, that's also, it's, they could say written in blood. Like I've made plenty of mistakes in my life where that could be a thing, But yeah, I did, Yoshi and I did study, we were in San Diego State for several years, and we were kind of like, that was the path we were going on. Cause that was back then it was like, that's what you do. Yeah. Go to college. Go to college and get a job, Yeah. There was no remote work back then, really. For sure.
Yeah, I do appreciate my dad telling me that, but now I also am kind of like, well, college isn't going anywhere.
No,
there's more than just.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing. You can always go back. That's what my mom told me. She's like, I was expecting my mom to go, stay in college. She was like, well, you can always go back. You can't always travel the world. I'm like, okay. So that was some other good advice. That's actually maybe that's the advice. Came from my mom. Yeah. You can always go back to school, but you may not always be able to travel the world. Yeah. So seize the opportunity when you have it.
For sure.
Oh yeah, we just came to a golden nugget.
I like that. Well, dude, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, man.
I appreciate you taking the time out of y'all's time in the mountains, and I really just appreciate everything you do for the sport, for all these charities. Like, you're stand-up dude. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It's hard. It's difficult sometimes. Well, man, I found a place to sit down and relax. And if you made it this far, that means you listened to the whole episode. So I really appreciate you making the time for this episode. Thank you for showing interest. I don't really do these things for money. It's more for the players. And I get to have a conversation with cool folks, and they get to have their story recorded. So I think that's cool stuff. But if you do want to contribute, you can go to cureduchenne.com and donate there. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is a form of muscular dystrophy that my son has, and it's really meaningful to me that Cure Duchenne is doing great things and making big strides to help cure Duchenne. So that would be the most meaningful thing to me, is if you made a donation there, $2, $5, $3,000, whatever. It all is meaningful to me. That, or if you want to donate. If you want to contribute, support directly, you can go to patreon.com/riddlesart, and there's different ways you can do that. Or you can just send me a message. Tell me what you like about these, what you don't like, if I should stop. Also, I do have zines that are going to be coming out, and if that's something you're interested in, feel free to DM me. I am mailing them out the snail mail way, the old-fashioned, just post stamp. As long as the USPS is still around, then I will mail this out. So thanks again for doing this. Hope you guys enjoyed the joy of paintball. Sorry for all the windiness in this, but it's cool view. Check that out. It's a lot better in Texas. All right, bye guys. Wilma! Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hi. Hi. This is the Wilma. Hi, Wilma. Oh, okay. Okay. This is... Whoa. Where's she going? Where's she going? Wilma. This is